Electric power is everywhere present in unlimited quantities.
One of the most influential inventors in the history of the world is Nikola Tesla. His inventions power many of the amenities we take for granted today. However, the talented engineer's legacy is marked by a weird and tumultuous personal life. But this does not detract from the terrifying truth about ancient technologies that he uncovered, which sadly a powerful group of people has been bent on keeping secret. Truth be told, modern life will be vastly different from what it is today, save for Nikola Tesla's inventions. The Serbian-born genius was notable for his three major discoveries: the induction motor, wireless communication, and what became the radio and cell phone. But for many students of history, two other things stand out with Tesla: his chaotic personal life and deep connection to ancient technologies, which many experts believed heavily influenced his work. His life began on a literal high note. He was born in Croatia on July 10, 1856, during a lightning storm. The midwife was wringing her hands in the midst of childbirth. It didn't look promising. Thunder was a bad sign. She predicted that the baby would be the child of darkness. Tesla's mother, however, contended Tesla would be a child of light. How true that proved to be. Tesla was extremely sensitive to outside stimuli. He claimed to be able to hear thunder from 550 miles away. He could even hear the pocket watch ticking 3 rooms away or a fly landing with a thud on the table. He described the sound of a locomotive 30 miles away as deafening when he was in college. Doctors suspected he had a nervous breakdown. At the time, no one heard of sensory overload, so he went misunderstood. He also had a fantastic photographic memory and a vivid imagination. He could visualize in 3 dimensions when he grew up. Amazingly, after only a few minutes of watching, he could recall entire books and pictures. He claimed to have cerebral engineering abilities. He was able to mentally visualize the entire invention and test the alternatives without even writing them down. He imagined his electric motor while walking. He was reciting Goethe's Faust in a Budapest park when suddenly he was struck by the image of a rotating magnetic field. He immediately drew diagrams of it in the sand, leading to his iconic invention. The genius saw his own mind as the unfathomable mystery. Here is a little-known fact about Tesla. He was driven to practice mysticism by the death of his brother Dane, which had so much impact on his behavior. Nikola had vivid visions of fire in the air around him in the years following Dane's death. As he grew older, he learned to control them, but later in life he exacerbated his strange condition. He claimed to be able to communicate with pigeons he fed in New York City. He was an activist for renewable energy 120 years ago, long before it became fashionable. He published an article titled "The Problem of Increasing Human Energy" with special references to the harnessing of the sun's energy in the periodical The Century in 1900. Tesla discussed harnessing the power of the sun and wind. People were depleting the Earth's resources too quickly and inefficiently. They only used 2% of the energy in coal. He described the man who could put a stop to this senseless waste as a great humanitarian. Tesla had eating habits many people would find odd. For example, he wore white gloves to dinner every evening. He would calculate the volume of food on the fork before taking a bite. Imagine that. Tesla wouldn't get any pleasure from eating otherwise. He would also figure out how much a cup and a plate were worth, and he preferred to eat alone due to his strange habits. He became a vegetarian later in life, only eating milk, bread, honey, and vegetable juices. He avoided alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and women. Tesla was a tall, dark-haired man with blue eyes. He was slim and 6 foot 2 inches tall, with refined taste and manners. He was popular among women, however he remained celibate. He believed that sex disturbed a man's work. In fact, he once said he couldn't think of many great inventions by married men. He disliked women's accessories as well, including pearls and jewelry. His friends allegedly introduced him to a beautiful girl at a reception he was attending. She was intelligent and entertaining, but she wore pearl earrings. He found it difficult to communicate with her. He couldn't even look her in the eyes. He also sent his secretary home for the day because she was wearing pearls. And there was also his attachment to pigeons. Tesla would frequently visit Central Park to feed them. He would take the injured back to his apartment, much to the annoyance of fellow hotel guests who eventually complained about the noise and odor. Prior to his death, he resided on the 33rd floor of the New Yorker Hotel in apartment number 3327. Instead of mixing with people, he spent his free time with pigeons. He had a soft spot for one white dove in particular. She flew into the room one day while he was lying in bed thinking. He claimed she had eyes that shone with blinding light. When she became ill, he continued to care for her. The pigeon cost him $2,000. He even devised a means of supporting her while her wing and leg healed. With more than 700 inventions to his name, it shocks many people that Tesla died penniless and unknown. He earned less money as he grew older. Because of a large bill, he moved from the Waldorf Astoria in New York City to the St. Regis. They also evicted him from St. Regis due to the bill and the mess he made with pigeons. Then he moved to a series of lower-class hotels, always leaving his bills behind. Westinghouse began paying his rent and $125 per month as a consulting fee to him. They carried on with the practice until he died. Tesla was also given a modest Serbian pension until his death. He died alone at the age of 86 in the Hotel New Yorker on Orthodox Christmas. 2 days later, a maid found him when she entered the room, despite the "Do Not Disturb" sign. The doctor determined that the cause of death was a heart attack. With all his strange habits, it is not surprising that many people thought he was insane. Tesla could have been on the autism spectrum. Tesla would have been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome today, according to Professor Michael Fitzgerald and Brendan O'Brien, co-authors of the book How Asperger Talents Changed the World. He had obsessive-compulsive disorder which ruined his reputation. He detested round objects, jewelry, and touching someone's hair. Tesla was intensely focused on his work. He claimed that only 2 hours of sleep was sufficient for him. He was either an insomniac or his body did not require additional sleep. He would be on the job from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. He then ate dinner at 8:10 p.m. and worked again until 3 a.m. Despite his lack of sleep and extensive work, he lived to the age of 87. Tesla was obsessed with the number 3 and the numbers that could be divided by 3. He would wash his hands 3 times in a row. He would circle his building 3 times before entering. Before each meal, he would wipe the dining table and cutlery with 18 handkerchiefs. He was also terrified of germs because he had cholera as a teenager. Tesla's exasperating personal habits didn't stop him from changing the world, though. However, nothing ever came easy for the troubled genius, as his battle with his former boss on AC versus DC would show. In January 1880, Thomas Edison unveiled his electric incandescent lamp to the public. Soon after, his newly devised power system was installed in New York City's First District. Electric lights twinkled on when Edison flipped the switch during a public demonstration of the system in 1881, igniting an unprecedented demand for this brand new technology. Despite Edison's early plans for underground wiring, demand was so high that parts of the city received power via exposed wires hung from wooden crossbeams. By 1885, avoiding electrical hazards became such an integral part of city life that Brooklyn named its baseball team the Dodgers after the residents who had to frequently avoid shocks from electrically powered trolley tracks. The Edison system used direct current, or DC. DC generators produce direct current, which always flows in one direction. Edison was a staunch supporter of DC, but it had its limitations. The most significant was that DC was difficult to transmit economically over long distances. But despite the fact that alternating current did not have this limitation, Edison did not consider it a viable solution for commercial power systems. Elihu Thomson, however, the founder of the Thomson-Houston Electric Company, a competitor of Edison's, believed otherwise. Thomson proposed a basic AC system in 1885, relying on high-voltage transmission lines to transport power far from where it was generated. Thomson's diagram also indicated the need for technology to reduce the voltage at the point of use. This technology, known as a transformer, would not be fully developed for commercial use until Westinghouse Electric Company did so in 1886. But despite the development of the transformer and several successful tests of AC power systems, a critical missing link remained. It took Tesla to find that missing link. While Edison worked to commercialize his electric lamp, Tesla worked on a problem that had piqued his interest since he was a student at Graz's Joanneum Polytechnic School. Tesla witnessed a Gram dynamo demonstration while a student there. A dynamo is a generator that produces direct current rather than alternating current by using a commutator. Tesla mentioned to his teacher that it might be possible to eliminate the commutator, which caused the dynamo to spark horribly. This suggestion was mocked by his teacher, but it captured Tesla's imagination. In 1881, Tesla had an inspired idea. What if the magnetic field in the stator of a dynamo was changed rather than the magnetic poles of the rotor? This was a revolutionary idea that turned conventional wisdom on its head. A stationary stator provides a constant magnetic field in a traditional dynamo, while a set of rotating windings turns within that field. Tesla realized that by flipping this arrangement, the commutator could be removed. Of course, making this idea a reality would require years of effort. Tesla began his career in 1882 while working for the Continental Edison Company in Paris. During the day, he would install incandescent lighting systems powered by Edison's DC power system. He experimented with AC motor designs in his spare time. This went on for 2 years until Tesla was transferred to New York City's Edison Machine Works. Tesla explained his ideas about alternating current to the famous American inventor, but Edison was uninterested. Instead, he directed Tesla to improve existing DC generation plants. Tesla complied, only to be disappointed when Edison failed to properly compensate him. Tesla resigned and the two men's paths diverged forever. Tesla was eventually backed financially by Charles Peck, an attorney, and Alfred S. Brown, a superintendent at Western Union. Peck and Brown assisted Tesla in establishing a laboratory near Edison's in Manhattan and encouraged the young engineer to perfect his AC motor. Tesla did exactly that, creating what became known as a polyphase induction motor. Tesla's first motor was a two-phase version with a stator with 2 pairs of magnets, 1 pair for each of the 2 AC phases. Tesla applied for 7 US patents in 1887, describing a complete alternating current system based on his induction motor and including generators, transformers, transmission lines, and lighting. A few months later, Tesla spoke to the American Institute of Electrical Engineers about his revolutionary new system. The lecture created a sensation, and despite Edison's anti-AC campaign, it convinced many experts that an AC power system was not only feasible, but far superior to DC. By the early 1890s, Edison and DC supporters felt genuinely threatened. They persisted in their claims that AC was dangerous, citing a botched electrocution attempt in 1890 as evidence. However, they were dealt a severe setback in 1893 when Westinghouse won the bid to light the Chicago World's Fair. General Electric, or GE, the company formed by the merger of Edison General Electric and Thomas Houston, was the other bid. Westinghouse won the bid on price, and when President Grover Cleveland flipped a switch to turn on 100,000 incandescent lamps across the fairgrounds, few questioned AC power's superiority. However, Tesla was not done inventing, and he moved on to other things. One of them remains one of the most intriguing projects ever in terms of scope, inspiration, and the sheer attempt to kill it, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla was widely regarded as America's foremost electrical engineer by 1900, having dazzled the world with his groundbreaking inventions and victory over Thomas Edison in the Battle of Currents. He then began his most ambitious project, the Wardenclyffe Transmission Tower. The Wardenclyffe facility, built between 1901 and 1905, was based on another of Tesla's revolutionary ideas. Nikola Tesla delivered a lecture to members of the American Institute of Electrical Engineers in New York City in 1891, during which he performed a stunning demonstration. He held a gas discharge tube, an early version of the modern fluorescent bulb, in each hand. Despite the fact that the tubes were not connected to any wires, they glowed brightly during his demonstration. Tesla explained to the stunned audience that the electricity was being transmitted through the air by a pair of metal sheets sandwiched between the stage and the audience. He then speculated on how to scale up this effect to transmit wireless power and information over a large area, possibly even the entire Earth. Tesla's audience was engrossed but perplexed, as was often the case. Back at his makeshift laboratory on Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs, Tesla continued to unravel the mysteries of electromagnetism in order to investigate this possibility further. He set up his equipment with the goal of producing the first lightning-scale electrical discharges ever achieved by man, a feat that would allow him to test many of his theories about the conductivity of the Earth and sky. He erected a 142-foot mast on his laboratory roof for this purpose, complete with a copper sphere at the tip. The tower's extensive wiring was then routed through a massive high-voltage Tesla coil in the laboratory below. On the night of his experiment, Tesla directed his assistant to fully electrify the tower after a 1-second test charge that briefly lit up the night with an eerie blue hum. J.P. Morgan, the famed financier, learned of Tesla's convictions in 1900 after reading an article in Century magazine in which the scientist described a global network of high-voltage towers that could one day control the weather, wirelessly relay text into images, and provide ubiquitous electricity via the atmosphere. Morgan, hoping to profit from the future of wireless telegraphy, immediately invested $150,000 in relocating Tesla's lab to Long Island in order to build a pilot plant for the World Wireless System. The following year, work on Wardenclyffe Tower and its dedicated power generation facility began. In December 1901, a competing scientist named Guglielmo Marconi executed the world's first transatlantic wireless telegraph signal just a few months after construction began. Despite the fact that Marconi used 17 Tesla patents to accomplish his feat, the development deeply concerned Tesla's investors. Though Marconi's plans were much less ambitious in scale, his apparatus was also much less expensive. Work at Wardenclyffe continued, but Tesla realized that his competitor's success with simple wireless telegraphy had significantly reduced the likelihood of additional investments in his own much larger project. In essence, Tesla's global power grid was designed to pump electricity into the Earth's crust and oceans, where it would mix with the natural telluric currents that circulate throughout the planet. Simultaneously, towers like Wardenclyffe would launch columns of raw energy into the electricity-friendly ionosphere 50 miles above. Customers' homes would be outfitted with a buried ground connection and a relatively small spherical antenna on the roof, creating a low-resistance path to close the massive Earth ionosphere circuit. A similar antenna would be used by ocean-going ships to draw power from the network while at sea, and these currents could carry information over long distances in addition to electricity by bundling radio frequency energy with the power, similar to how modern technology sends high-speed internet data over power lines. There was little reason to doubt Tesla's claims given his supporting experimental data and previous engineering accomplishments. However, the construction of the power station, the massive wooden tower, and the 55-ton conductive dome quickly depleted the initial investment funds, resulting in chronic funding shortages. The difficulties were exacerbated by a stock market crash in 1901, which doubled the cost of building materials and sent investors scrambling for financial protection. During construction, the Wardenclyffe team tested their tower a few times, and the results were very encouraging. However, the project quickly devoured Tesla's personal savings, and it became increasingly clear that no new investments would be forthcoming. After exhausting all practical financial options, the construction efforts were halted in 1905. If Tesla's plans had been realized, the pilot plant would have been the first of many. As early as the 1920s, such magnifying transmitter towers would have peppered the globe, saturating it with free electricity and wireless communication. Instead, the futuristic facility's potential lay dormant for more than a decade, until the tower was finally demolished for scrap in 1917. If Wardenclyffe had been completed without interruption, Tesla might have been able to change the course of history once more. The TeslaNet's instant access to power and information may have ushered in the information age nearly a century earlier, making today's world a very different place indeed. One of the most controversial topics in scientific circles is where Tesla got the inspiration for his power tower from. For all intents, Tesla's research into ancient pyramids could have been the answer to unlocking the mysteries of these ancient structures. The Great Pyramids of Egypt have long been shrouded in mystery, and scientists have only recently begun to unravel their secrets. One of the greatest mysteries of all is the source of energy used to build the pyramids. While some believe the pyramids were built by hand, others believe they were powered by an unknown energy source. For centuries, people have speculated about the use of an unknown energy source in the construction of the pyramids. It is written in ancient texts such as the pyramid text that the gods gave us something to build a great power, implying that some unknown power was involved in the process. Tesla's fascination with Egypt's Great Pyramids began in his 20s in the early 1900s. He became fascinated by the incredible amount of energy that ancient structures seemed to contain after reading several books about them. At the time, electricity was still relatively unknown, and Tesla began to wonder if the pyramids contained any advanced technology. He became convinced that the pyramid's power was linked to electromagnetism, and he devoted time and effort when reveling the mystery. During his research, Tesla developed several theories about how the pyramids might have functioned. He believed that the pyramids could store and transfer electricity, which could then be used to power nearby areas. He also speculated that the pyramids were built with crystal energy and that the chambers within them contained powerful crystals used to manipulate the electromagnetic fields. Furthermore, Tesla hypothesized that the stones and materials used to build the Great Pyramid possessed properties that allowed them to capture and store energy from both the sun and the moon. He even proposed that the pyramid was built to generate an energy field capable of powering cities or illuminating dark places. Since then, researchers and scholars have studied and debated Tesla's theories on the power of the pyramids. Tesla also proposed that the pyramids were linked to cosmic energy that could be harnessed for healing and spiritual enlightenment. Tesla also investigated the energy properties of the pyramids by studying ancient artifacts and texts related to them, such as hieroglyphs and drawings. He went on to develop the theory that the pyramids were built as energy amplifiers with an unknown energy source. However, more revealing are the similarities between Tesla's tower and the ancient pyramids. For example, he constructed the Tesla Experimental Station in Colorado Springs and the Wardenclyffe Tower or Tesla Tower on the East Coast to take advantage of the Earth's energy field. The locations were chosen based on the laws that govern where the pyramids of Giza were built, which are related to the planet's elliptical orbit and the equator. Tesla's tower was also built on aquifers, implying that Tesla's electric technology was nearly identical to that used in the construction of the Great Pyramid. And apart from this, archaeologists and geophysicists from the University of Mexico announced the discovery of a large cenote or sinkhole cave beneath Chichen Itza's famous Maya temple pyramid in 2015. The name of the pyramid is Kukulkan or El Castillo. It is regarded as one of the world's new 7 wonders due to its perfect astronomical geometry. Experts discover that it's linked to other caverns and lakes in the area. The water that fills the cavern is thought to flow north to south. This means that the Pyramid of Chichen Itza, like Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower and the Great Pyramid of Giza, is built on a subterranean water source. Interestingly, the Great Pyramid of Giza's outer casing was made of white tufa limestone, which was arranged in such a way that nothing could fit between the stones. And it is worth noting that the white tufa limestone used in the Great Pyramid of Giza's outer casing contains no magnesium and has excellent insulating properties. This sophisticated insulation property is thought to have allowed the ancient Egyptians to fully control the release of energy from within the pyramid. Given the way Tesla came to an end, it is tempting to write his idea about the pyramids as the ramblings of an insane mind. However, multiple clues and modern research bodies of work are beginning to support Tesla's ideas. For example, scientists have discovered that the Great Pyramid of Giza can collect and concentrate electromagnetic energy in its chambers and at its base. The ancient Egyptians built the 139 meters or 456-foot structure more than 4,500 years ago, making it the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Experts are still working to unravel the mysteries of the pyramid, which is thought to have been constructed as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu. But a team of researchers led by scientists from ITMO University in the Russian city of St. Petersburg discovered its ability to concentrate electric and magnetic energy just as Tesla theorized. And they built a model of the pyramid in order to test its electromagnetic response. The model was used to examine how wave energy is scattered or absorbed by the pyramid. And the group tested interactions with waves ranging in length from 200 meters to 600 meters. The researchers believe that if the pyramid's ability to concentrate energy can be replicated on a nanoscale, the same science could be used to create more efficient sensors and solar cells. This could be used to control radio wave propagation and reflection in Earth conditions. Such a behavior can be realized in different spectral ranges for suitable material and geometrical parameters due to the scaling properties. Separately, Edward J. Kunkel proposed in his 1973 book Pharaoh's Pump that the Great Pyramid functioned like a hydraulic ram pump, forcing water up through the structure and out of the small shafts via changes in air pressure. Engineer John Cadman later tested and modified Kunkel's theory, discovering that the pyramid could function as a vibrational pulse generator through changes in air and water pressure. He contended that as water flooded into the subterranean chamber through the descending passageway, the pressure would have risen through granite check valves until a vibrational pulse was released. These pulses corresponded to a steady rhythm of vertical compression waves propagating up through the structure. And another clue is the case of Bosnia's ancient pyramids, which support the idea that pyramids could be used as a power generator for some unknown work. Dr. Samir Osmanagi, who discovered the site in Bosnia, stated that at the top of the Bosnia Pyramid of the Sun, an energy phenomenon known as Tesla's stationary waves was recorded. These waves, which are thought to travel faster than the speed of light without losing power as they pass through cosmic bodies, allow for the concept of a cosmic web or cosmic internet, as well as near instantaneous intergalactic communication in the universe. So did Tesla know something about the pyramids that we do not know? Let's hear what you think in the comments section below.